Hi everyone. Good morning. How are you? How is everyone this morning? Okay, so oh my gosh, it's Friday already. Can't even believe that. So, not sure exactly what you guys can see here. I'm gonna move this over a bit and this over a bit, and we're going to start with cutting up onions, and we're going to make a mushroom dish, as well as, oh my gosh, I forgot to take it out. Hey Jane, good morning. I forgot to take the chickpeas out of the instant pot, but that's okay. I will quickly do that in a minute. I'm going to get this going first. Good morning. So how is everybody? Happy Friday. So so the week has gone by really fast. It looks a little bit cooler out there, and so getting all the different things from the garden. Is it sunny and fine there? Oh wow. Okay, well we're still a little overcast here, so I'm sure it's going to clear up though. I think it's supposed to be super hot. I was out in the garden kind of propping up my plants. They're all growing so fast right now, putting the, oh, is it sunny there too? Well, that's funny. I guess we're just have a cloud over us right now. Just over our house for a few minutes. Okay, well that's funny. Nice to hear it's sunny everywhere but here right now. Oh, that's hilarious. Anyway, okay, so we're doing the, we're doing my most common onion cutting here. And yeah, so we're going to do a couple things almost at once at the same time. And we always do things like that every morning because I have such a tiny little spot here to work in, and so I do tend to throw things around, as you know. So that was a very good catch, wasn't it? We're always kind of knocking things over and throwing things on the floor, but that's okay. We are here to have fun and to share interesting, healthy recipes. I'm going to try and watch my elbow now with that. And yeah, so we do a lot of 15-minute meals. I have a lot of 15-minute healthy meal videos on my YouTube channel, and so on this Facebook Live, we're just here to explore different healthy foods and different ideas and tips. And I'm going to turn this on here. Oh, you know what? That's not plugged in. Oh my gosh, we are having such a fun morning. Okay, that one's plugged in. This one's not. Let's do that. Okay. Luckily, I am right beside the plug, and yeah, all these different cool kitchen tools. I bought this, and it's a Master Chef, and I like it, except that whenever it's plugged in, the little red light's on, and that always kind of like makes me think that it's on. And so that's why I unplug it all the time. And actually, with these types of things, you should probably unplug them anyway. And I usually only have one going at a time. So anyway, hey Darlene, hi, how you doing? Good morning. So we're going to start with this. These guys here are pretty interesting. I have not worked with these before. These are, they're oyster mushrooms, but they're much different than the oyster mushrooms that we find in the wild. So the oyster mushrooms that you know we're usually finding in the wild are growing off of trees that have died, and they look very much like an oyster shell. They're very wide and flat, and they're usually layered, like 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, kind of layered. And I saw these at the store, and these are the king oyster mushrooms, and I've never worked with them before, and they look a little cultured, but I do, from what I understand, all mushrooms are, I mean, they're beneficial anyway, whether they're cultivated or not. I guess it just depends on the medium that they're grown in as to the nutrient value. But the oyster mushrooms that we get in the wild, so it's got a really interesting stem, if you can see that. The oysters that we find in the wild are really, really good for you. They detoxify the body. They stimulate the immune system. They have so many medicinal benefits. They're just like so healthy. They remove free radicals. They're full of antioxidants. And so I'm going to assume, although I haven't looked into it, that these king oyster mushrooms would do the same thing, since they must be grown from the same, original, whatever they are, spores or that kind of thing. I've never actually grown mushrooms myself, so I'm not really sure, but I know that you do things with the spores. One of these days I'm going to have to try that. Anyway, so we're going to do these oyster mushrooms here, these king ones, and yeah, I find it very fascinating that that they've made them so huge, and they actually really, honestly, they don't look anything much like an oyster mushroom, because like I said, I don't have any fresh oyster mushrooms to show you because it's not that season, but they really do look like oyster shells. And so anyways, we're going to do these guys up, and this is going to be a bit of a side dish. And we have onions cooking in this pot here for our soup of the day, which will be a chickpea or garbanzo bean soup that's going to be amazing. But I wanted to get these oysters in first and get them going. So we're going to do that. Yeah, so for those of you, very tasty. Okay, good. That's good to know, Monique. I haven't tried these before, so I didn't know. I do know the wild oyster mushrooms are like totally so delicious. They're just really to die for. They're really, really good. So I'm excited to try these out. And I happen to have some little Money's mushrooms, just the little regular guys that need to be used up. And so I'm going to throw those in as well. So this is kind of going to be a little bit of a side dish for, for just adding to your meal, if we have a salad or we have whatever we end up having for dinner, which I haven't really decided yet. And so I did wash these. That's why these guys look a little tattered, because, I always, for my 15-minute meals that we make, to be able to make a healthy 15-minute meal, it really is beneficial to wash all your vegetables before you put them in the fridge. And that way, as soon as you go into the fridge, you have something that's clean and ready to go, so that you don't have to waste time, washing each individual vegetable if they're already washed. But of course you can't do that with mushrooms, because they kind of turn out like this right away. And so the mushrooms, you do have to wash them right before you use them. And so I washed them about 20 minutes ago, and they definitely don't look nearly as pretty as when they're dry. So, oh, that sounds good. Baked beans sounds good. Yeah, so I haven't really thought about what to make for dinner yet. Okay, so often what I'll do, and what we often do with the recipes that we do on the Facebook Live, is just, whatever's in the fridge, it's like, okay, what can we do with this? And add some spices, and add some really good, beneficial health ingredients, like really healthy foods. And often I will add things like seaweeds, or really high density vegetables that have a lot of nutrition in them, to bump up the actual nutrient content of the food that we're making. Because, why not? You should, if you get the chance to make your food even healthier than it normally would be, then you should take advantage of that. So quite often we'll add things like turmeric, high density greens like kale and collards, and so we're going to do that today as well. We're going to add a little bit of, these are they're like old kales, so they're quite concentrated and quite purpley. They're not the new baby kales. These guys have been around for a little bit, and so they, when the sun hits them, it concentrates the, well, it concentrates nutritional value, but it concentrates the sugars as well. You know, that's kind of what makes things turn orange and purple and all those colors, is when the sun hits them, and it changes the chlorophyll content. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of kale to this, and we're going to add some kale to that too. The kale is one of the things that is a little harder to absorb when it's raw, so ideally you want to massage it a little bit in some olive oil or a little bit of Celtic sea salt or Himalayan sea salt or something like that to help break it down so that you can absorb the nutrients better. Because the kale is one of the most nutrient-dense, rich foods, like especially green leafies on the planet. So it's very, very densely rich with those nutrients and nutrition. So it's super important to have your kale. The kale's got vitamin K as well, vitamin C, vitamin K. It's got magnesium, and these are my collard leaves, and they have magnesium too. Okay, I'm going to focus on this for a minute, and then I'm going to talk about magnesium. But for the mushrooms here, what I wanted to add are some of my homegrown garlic, and I'm going to have to just smash it down like that. It works really, really good to smash the garlic down. I have 1-year-old garlic, 2-year-old garlic, 3-year-old garlic, and 4-year-old garlic, and so it's really nice and fun to just play with them all. So this is going to be, except that the new garlic, so the little skins really stick to your fingers. So we're going to smash this down and put some of this garlic in here. And so this is basically going to be a garlic mushroom spicy dish. Not too spicy, but I am going to add just a tiny bit of cayenne to this, a little bit. So the cayenne's a circulatory herb, really good for your circulation, for your blood, for opening up the capillaries, for especially good if you have cold hands and feet. Good for any kind of headaches. It's really good if you have a, like get the occasional headaches or just tension and that kind of thing. It just helps with everything. Good for arthritis because it aids in circulation. Okay, so 2 things now going on. I did misplace the granulated garlic that I need to put in here, and I forgot to take the chickpeas out of the Instant Pot, so I am going to do that while you guys are entertained by watching these mushrooms cook down. I'll be right back. Okay, good thing I had something to entertain you with while I got the things I forgot. Chickpeas, fresh out of the Instant Pot. So I drained them. So the chickpeas are, okay, let's not knock things over again here. We'll set those there. And this is granulated garlic. This doesn't have any salt in it, it's just pure granulated garlic. Okay, so with the chickpeas, I did soak them and soak and rinse, right? To get rid of the lectins. You guys should be pretty, for the people that watch this all the time, you should be pretty versed on the lectins and what the lectins do. That's the part of the beans and peas and things that make it kind of inhibit digestion. I won't say indigestible, but inhibit digestion. And so when you soak and rinse, it removes the lectins. And also, it is very true that the faster you cook them, the less lectins will be there. So they do suggest to cook your beans and peas and all your legumes and things in a pressure cooker. So, you know, or in a fast method. You know, in this case I have the Instant Pot, but they do say pressure cooking them helps to remove even more lectins. And so if you're sensitive to that, fast cooking is the thing. But, you know, I mean, in the old days, always and forever, the whole idea was to slow cook your beans all day. So, so I've said this many times before. You guys are probably getting bored of hearing it. But yeah, soak and rinse. If you can, at least 3 times throughout a day or a day and a half. And then often what I will do is, after they're cooked, I will rinse them again. So I did drain these off. They're chickpeas, so, you know, to me they're a little bit more friendly and less lectin-y than some things. So I didn't want to waste your time with rinsing for too long after they're cooked. I'm just trying to get the garlic off here. And also, we don't have a problem with lectins, so that's another reason I'm not worried about it, because we don't have those digestive issues. So, specifically, although, you know, all peas and beans do have them. Okay, so we're back to, let's just take a look at these guys and what they're doing. And typically, I start my dishes with just water, no oil or anything like that. My stir fries, my soups and stuff, I usually don't add any oil to it. But in this case, I really think it's going to be more appetizing if the mushroom dish is shiny. So we're going to add, I have a fork instead of a spoon. We're going to add a little bit of coconut oil to that. So, not a lot, like a small tablespoon. It's just enough for shine, really. I know that sounds funny, but it's so true. I just want it to shine a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go like this, and we are going to turn this right down. Yeah, see, it will obviously give it a teensy bit of the coconut flavor too, but with all the garlic, and the kale. You know what I'm going to add to this? I'm going to add a little bit of tarragon. I love tarragon. To the carrots. Yeah. We don't have any carrots today. To the mushrooms. Just for a little bit of extra flavor. It has, I find it has kind of an exotic sweet flavor. I often wonder if that's what they mean by savory. Has that savory flavor. So you can see these guys are looking really good. With the shine, they look even better. And there's kind of a big one there. I should cut him in half, and I'm gonna take him out to do that because I don't want to damage my lovely pan. Okay, and back in you go. Okay, just like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave this on like super, super low. And you know what? I'm going to turn it off because I will be reheating this later on for dinner, so I don't need it totally cooked. I just need it to look really good for you guys so that you can see how lovely it is, and so you can make it too. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, we have the onions cooking here for the chickpeas, and I am... yeah, I'm going to add the chickpeas. I don't need anything else like super cooked. So I'm going to turn this down as well. Actually, turn it right off and add the chickpeas. And so this is going to be to our soup. So now we're going to add the garlic. Everybody knows that garlic is very antiviral, antiseptic, antifungal. Garlic is like the best thing you can ever have in your house for whatever ails you. It is absolutely amazing. So we're adding the garlic to it here. And then we did add a little bit of kale, and we're going to add some collards. And then what I was actually talking about before, and you know what, I'm going to add, I get distracted so easy. What do I do next? Oh, you know what, I'm not going to add that. I'm going to add this first. That's what it is. I should really line my vegetables up in order, so that I remember what order I'm doing everything in when I do 2 or 3 things at once. But I'm not very orderly. It's like the next shiny thing. Oh my gosh, let's do this. Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do it all. Life is so exciting. I just find there's so many fun, interesting things to do in life. My gosh, I can't even begin to imagine ever becoming bored. And most things are free. Most interesting things in life are free. Like there's just so many things, obviously, totally into gardening and herbs and all that kind of thing. But even just reading a good book, in the park, watching the birds, paying attention to the planet, paying attention even to people, like, going to a park and people watching, like it brings peace and joy when you're sitting in nature and you see other people enjoying and having a good time, like a family at the beach or something. You see that off in the distance, that people experiencing joy brings joy to us. And so it's just, there are so many amazing things that we can do that are free, and also things that are beneficial for other people. So there's like a million ways to volunteer, and things that you enjoy, and that things that you want to share or do or learn about. So many things. Like I do the gleaning, which is the fruit, and because my hobbies are more about food and herbs and things, but still the gleaning helps other people. And so if you can do something, even volunteering, that helps other people and brings you joy, it's just, another thing that I saw that I thought was really cool. These are the super, I'll interrupt myself. These are the super duper awesome heirloom peppers that I got at the farmer's market in Duncan. Really nice. Anyways, so one of the things that I saw that I thought was super cool, that brings everybody joy that sees it, is, and I don't remember where it is because we walk so many trails, I'm so busy looking at the herbs and the plants, I don't know where I am. If Daniel wasn't leading me along, I'd totally get so lost. Anyway, we were on a trail, and someone had painted little rocks and put them all along the trail. And it just makes you smile. It's got little happy faces and sunflowers and little flowers and little things. And so that person is doing something that costs practically nothing, painting little rocks and putting them on a random trail for people to enjoy. And so it's a great little hobby thing to entertain yourself, and it brings joy to other people. And in another park, I saw someone had just taken like a Sharpie, like a permanent marker, and they had just written on wood inspiring words and inspiring things. And so again, they're doing something that costs really nothing, and is entertaining, and it's inspiring for them to write the inspiring words, and it's inspiring for everyone else that runs across that trail, that comes across that trail, to it makes them feel good. So so my gosh, there's so many fantastic and amazing things that you can do in this life to enhance your own self and help other people. and just sharing, sharing positivity. That's the thing. I have run a meetup group for 10 years now at my house, and it was every Tuesday, and the last 8 years it was every Thursday as well. So every Tuesday and Thursday I had a meetup group, and we would share positive, helpful things. And obviously now it's a little bit not happening as much, but it was just so uplifting for everyone to just share anything positive. And it wasn't just me being the speaker. I had presenters and speakers from everywhere, and so we all learned something from each other, which is just what this is all about. And so now that we're not as social as we used to be right now, this is just such a fun thing to do. This Facebook Live and interacting and exchanging with each other and sharing helpful, positive information, and it's just so fun. And I really am honored and thankful for you guys for hanging out with me and doing this, sharing fun, positive things about food and herbs and life in general. So thank you for this gift to each other. To me and to each other. Okay, back to the food. Okay, so we are going to, now that we've added, I forgot to add the peppers. So now that we've added the peppers, and I will cook this more so that those peppers cook a bit. I'm not as much of a fan of raw peppers as cooked. Okay, so we're going to get that going. We are adding, we have the exact wrong can open here. I opened this before we started, thinking it was, I don't know, diced tomatoes. And it's not. It's tomato sauce. So I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And so for whatever reason, we need tomato sauce in this dish. So instead of canned tomatoes or chopped tomatoes. So I don't think I'm going to add the whole thing, because I kind of don't want it to taste like spaghetti. But I trust that it will do whatever it's supposed to do. And at this moment, when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, the thing to turn this whole thing around and change the recipe from what I started with would be to add a can of coconut milk to it. Would be really super awesome, because coconut milk with the tomatoes is good too. But having said that, my mind also goes to that I don't really want to use coconut milk, because we had a coconut milk soup yesterday. Hey, hi Kate. Nice to see you here, and yeah, thank you, Darlene. Nice to see you here, Darlene. Have you here, you guys? Yeah, it's so awesome. So anyways, seeing as how I just put tomato sauce in there, and I didn't want to put tomato sauce in there, I wanted to put diced tomatoes. And I don't want to use coconut milk, because we used that yesterday in that recipe. And so to counter the super tomatoey taste, I'm going to add some coconut sugar. Okay, so you with me? Are you following my thought process on just balancing that sugar? Because this was going to be something else, and we often do that. That's why this is just so much fun. Oh my God. Okay, let me just move this. Olive oil, because we're not using the olive oil. I'm trying to get a clean spoon into the coconut sugar. So the coconut sugar has a lower glycemic index than any other sugars, other than monk fruit. So I'm going to add that would be like a heaping teaspoon, kind of. So I'm not going to add all that. I'm going to go with like less than a level teaspoon. Okay, because I don't want it sweet. I just want to kind of, tone down that tomatoey flavor. And okay, back to the original recipe. So I have no idea what's going to turn out here. It's so much fun just to have a plan and have it completely not go the way you want it to. Okay, so chili peppers. We're going to add some chili peppers. We do want some spice in this, and I'm going to go with half a teaspoon. Okay, so that should do for that. I'm going to, oh, you know what? This parsley was supposed to go in with the mushrooms, but it's never too late. We're going to add a little bit of parsley to this, and then we'll add a little bit of parsley to that. Parsley is another thing you guys should be growing. If you don't grow it, it's okay, but you should have it in your kitchen. Parsley is, it's such an innocent little plant, but it is so, so important. If you have nothing else for your vitamins and minerals, you drink parsley tea. Full of vitamins and minerals, trace minerals. It has every mineral in it. Calcium, magnesium. It's got it in plant form, which makes it more highly absorbable. It may not taste so great, but you can add a little bit of maple syrup or something to it, or just add the parsley tea to your other tea or your other drink, or even add your parsley to your coffee. It's so beneficial, helpful for circulation, for arthritis, because of the mineral content, and kidneys, that's what it was. Sometimes I just can't think. Yeah, really good for your kidney health. Yeah, so yeah, it's really, really awesome. And that is homegrown parsley, so I do have twigs in it that that I didn't really filter out very well, so those would be a little hard on the chewing. Okay, so back to we're going to add a little bit of water to this. It looks and smells pretty good, even though it's not exactly, I was hoping for little chunks of tomatoes. Okay, so a little more water. Oh, and we have, the other thing I have, and I always talk about this, that when you're making anything, when you're making anything, this isn't what I thought it was. These are Jerusalem artichokes. I thought they were potatoes. They're Jerusalem artichokes that I made. And anyway, back to when you think, or whenever you're making something, always make extra so that you have an extra little bit of whatever that vegetable or that grain or that bean is, so that you can add it to a recipe. And I'm looking for potatoes, and those are Jerusalem artichokes, so I am just going to grab a couple of potatoes here from my other potato plant. My other potato plant. I have such a little spot here to work in. Okay, so I'm just going to, that's why I pulled that fork out. I'm just going to grab a few of these just to add to the recipe. Okay. One more. Just eyeballing the whole situation here. And, so, okay, I did want to have potatoes. And I have a whole nother story to tell you that I keep getting distracted from, but I won't forget because it's sitting right in front of me. Yeah, right. Like that hasn't happened before. Okay, I'm just being kind of careful to not hit this with my elbow so I don't knock that over. My little tiny workspace. Someday, when I win $1 million, I'll have a really nice big kitchen that you guys can actually see better what I'm doing. But in the meantime, this works. And so we're just going to get these in here. And potatoes. Just going to get some potatoes in. Whoops. Oh, there's one for the dog. She loves it. Hanging around, watching me cook. Okay, so potatoes. Come on, you guys. I don't want to bore you with my. Oh yeah. Okay, I can tell you my stories while I'm cutting potatoes and other things. Okay, so yeah. So we were talking about the kale and the. Just trying to read the. Oh, put the water from the potatoes in my soup. Really? I guess that would be good because there's actually there is a potato peeling recipe that's really good for arthritis, and it's actually called potato peeling broth. And I just love working together with you guys because we learn so many things together. And because I don't have a lid, I won't put it all in there. But yeah, we learn so much together. And there is a recipe by Dr. Bernard Jensen. And he's a very well-known natural nutrition person, pioneer from, long time ago, and he has a potato peeling broth recipe, which is super good for arthritis. So, okay, we're going to add a little bit of garlic, granulated garlic, and now I'm back to telling you the story. The story was about the kale and the collards, and so we already talked about the kale and how beneficial it is. And anything dark leafy green is really, really good for you. I'm just picking out a couple of these kales that have had a little bit of sun and a little bit of sun stress, but they're still very good. And I hate wasting it because it's so full of vitamins, minerals. The kale has vitamin K, vitamin C, manganese, and more importantly, or it's not more importantly, but today I feel like it's more importantly to mention that so many of us are magnesium deficient. And so the kale has magnesium as well. And so, you know, a lot of people take calcium supplements for arthritis and bone density and all that stuff. But what they are neglecting to say is that pretty much the studies have shown that you need to have 4 times as much magnesium to 1 part calcium. You need 4 parts magnesium to 1 part calcium for the body to be able to absorb the calcium. And so we don't do that. We just take calcium and then it can go into bone spurs and calcium deposits and things like that. So, which is why they add vitamin D as well to the calcium so that you can absorb it. And the magnesium is so super important for that calcium to be able to be taken up into the blood and into the bone. So, yeah, so anyway, you really, really need your magnesium. And so these are the collards. I just chopped them up here. Collards are full of magnesium too. And so you can take, and a lot of people do, and I as well, when I'm feeling particularly sore or achy from whatever exercise or reason that might be, magnesium is what a person is usually lacking if you have muscle cramping, right? Magnesium regulates the muscles of the heart. That's why it's really good for, I mean, unless you're on heart medication, then don't take anything that you're not being prescribed. But generally speaking, the magnesium controls and relaxes the heart muscle, relaxes and controls the bowels. It relaxes everything. It really works with the muscles. And so if you're having, it works with the brain, it relaxes everything. So if you're having migraines, if you're having headaches, it could be a magnesium deficiency. If you're having insomnia, you can't sleep at night, that can be a magnesium deficiency. Depression can also be, like you're just not getting enough magnesium. And you can supplement for sure, and that's awesome. And I do on occasion, but if you can get enough of the magnesium-rich foods into your body, then that's even better, right? So your collards, any dark leafy greens are full of magnesium. Collards, kale, which we have, spinach, nettles are really high in magnesium. Of course, like I said, the parsley has it in there. Dandelions, turnip greens, any of your greens, right? Turnip greens, what's the other ones? Beet greens, all that kind of stuff has magnesium. And of course, bananas and almonds and blueberries, blackberries, I think are high in magnesium. And of course, cocoa. And who doesn't like a nice, rich cocoa drink? I was out in the garden this morning and just looking at my hair. Oh well. Bad hair day. So anyways, so make sure that you get your magnesium. So far back to the recipe. We're running out of time here. Okay, so we have the, it actually looks pretty good. It has the stuff in it. What else? Okay, did we put the pepper in? No, we didn't put the cayenne in it, so cayenne for circulation. We're going to put the Celtic sea salt Celtic sea salt also has a lot of minerals in it. I'm not exactly sure on the magnesium content, but I know it has a lot of trace minerals that are really hard to find in other foods. And then, of course, our black pepper. And if we're going to add black pepper and we're working with something that's orange already, we might as well add turmeric, which has the curcumin and the anti-inflammatory properties. So get your turmeric in. Let me think, what else? You know, you could add all kinds of things that are really beneficial. With the turmeric, I didn't mean to clang. I mean, I did clang, but I'm sorry. Yeah, so with the turmeric, depending on how much food you have and what it's going to taste like, the turmeric can be a little bit bitter. So, you know, it's really easily hidden in golden milk, which we are going to do a golden milk recipe. I totally forgot about that, but I promised you guys you were asking for golden milk, and so we will do that with the turmeric. And so the almond milk or whatever kind of non-dairy milk that you want to use in the golden milk is really helps to hide the flavor is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, okay, so we have this here, and this is... I often start my soups like this with a high heat pot, and then we cook everything, and then we add in, if you're going to add any like cauliflower or broccoli or carrots, or, well, not so much carrots because you want those pretty cooked, or at least we do. But anyways, it often turns out looking like a stir fry before it turns into a soup. And then so what I think I'm going to do is just see what the majority have to say around here, and we might just have that for dinner and skip having it for soup, or take half of it out and add some water or almond milk to it, or even coconut milk, and then save the rest for dinner. So I am going to try this because it's looking pretty good. And yeah, so the other thing that I did bring out, I didn't use it. But I thought it might be pretty good, and I might, once I try the mushrooms, there is this 3 onion thing. You know, I do use a few of the Epicure things, and it just seemed to me that the 3 onion blend would be really good with those mushrooms. It does smell good. I'm just going to put a little bit on there. I'm sure it's fine without it. Maybe I'll taste it without it too. I'll just sprinkle it on and then taste both. And let you guys see. Okay, I'm just gonna taste it without on a corner that didn't have it. Let me get that mushroom in there. It's just so good on its own. With just the onions, the coconut oil really did add to it, and the garlic and the Celtic sea salt, pepper, cayenne pepper, and whatever else we added to it. I seriously need someone to write down all my recipes for me because I can't remember. It was really good. And then it'll be even better with the little onion bits in it. Oh, tarragon. I remember that because it's coming into my taste buds. Tarragon's beautiful. Okay. So I'll shut this off and shut this off. I will taste this for you so that you can get a sense of what we've done here. Oh, wow. Just the perfect amount of spice. Perfect amount of, wow, everything. That's awesome. It all depends on what you want. Like I said, I use the tomato sauce instead of the diced tomatoes, so it has a bit of still a little bit of tomato flavor. So you can add just a tiny bit more of the coconut sugar. Remember I had, what did I have? I had half a tablespoon and I only used half of that, so I'm going to finish using the other half. Sometimes when your intuition comes to you and you second guess yourself, you shouldn't. That's what intuition is all about. It's just taking that, whatever pops into your head and whatever you feel, don't try and judge it and figure it out and change it and negate it, because 9 times out of 10, that's the thing you were supposed to do. Okay, hey Rita, hi. Good morning, everyone. Almost noon. Okay, so that's it. It was lovely fun hanging out with you guys. And we will see you Monday morning at 11. So be sure to put whatever you want to do in the comments, and then we'll do some really fun stuff next week. And check out my Instagram and share this, and go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Okay, have a really, really great weekend. See you on Monday.